7 reasons smart people stay broke. Most people don't stay broke because they don't earn enough. They stay broke because of decisions their brain makes without them even realizing it. In the next few minutes, we're going to break down the real psychological reasons money slips through people's hands and what actually separates the people who build wealth from the people who stay stuck, regardless of how much they earn. The first reason is something psychologists call the scarcity mindset. When someone grows up without enough, or even goes through a period as an adult where money is tight, their brain starts treating scarcity as the default state of the world. Scarcity doesn't make people more careful with money. It narrows their focus so much that they can only think about today's problem, not next year's plan. Researchers call this tunneling. This is exactly why giving someone more money doesn't automatically fix the problem. If the underlying scarcity mindset is still running the show, a raise just becomes a slightly bigger amount to still feel short on. The second reason is lifestyle inflation, and it's one of the sneakiest because it feels like progress while it's actually keeping you stuck. Every time income goes up, spending quietly rises to match it. A better phone, a bigger apartment, more frequent eating out. Each upgrade feels earned and reasonable in the moment, but the end result is the same gap between income and savings, just at a higher number. This is why people making significantly more money than they used to can still feel like they're living paycheck to paycheck. The goalpost for enough keeps moving right along with their income. The third reason is deeply psychological. For a lot of people, spending isn't really about the item, it's about identity and status. Buying something is often a signal to yourself and others of who you are or who you want to be seen as. That signal feels valuable enough that people will pay a premium for it, even when it quietly undermines their financial goals. This is part of why so much personal debt is tied to appearance and lifestyle rather than things that build long-term financial freedom. Stick around till the end because I'm going to walk through a real example that shows exactly how all 7 of these patterns can quietly stack up in one person's life. The fourth reason comes down to basic brain wiring. Humans are naturally wired to prefer a smaller reward right now over a bigger reward later. Economists call this hyperbolic discounting. Saving money means giving up a real, tangible reward today for the sake of an abstract future benefit you can't fully picture. Given that trade-off, the brain very often chooses now. This isn't a character flaw. The people who build wealth aren't necessarily more disciplined by nature. They've usually just built systems that remove the moment-to-moment choice entirely. The fifth reason is fear, and it shows up in 2 opposite ways. Some people avoid ever looking at their finances because the anxiety feels overwhelming. Others make impulsive decisions specifically to escape that same anxiety. Avoiding a bank statement or refusing to make a budget can feel like relief in the moment. But that relief is temporary, and the underlying problem keeps compounding in the background. Decisions made from fear are rarely the same decisions someone would make with a calm, clear head. The sixth reason is simpler than it sounds. Most people were never actually taught how money works. Compound interest, how debt accumulates, how investing works. These aren't intuitive concepts, and most schools don't teach them. Without that foundation, people often make financial decisions the same way they'd navigate an unfamiliar city without a map, reacting to what's directly in front of them instead of following a plan. The final reason is environment. The spending habits of the people around you quietly become your baseline for normal, whether you consciously choose it or not. If everyone in your social circle upgrades their lifestyle at the same pace, staying disciplined can start to feel like deprivation, even when it's actually the financially healthier choice. None of these 7 patterns mean someone is careless or unintelligent with money. They're mostly invisible defaults, running in the background of everyone's brain. The people who eventually build financial freedom aren't necessarily smarter. They've just become aware of these patterns early enough to build systems around them, instead of fighting their own brain every single day. And that awareness is genuinely the first step. Now, it's time for our case study. Let's make this real for a second. Meet Arjun. Not his real name, but someone whose story I've heard in one shape or another, more times than I can count. Arjun landed a genuinely good job at 26. Solid salary, steady growth, the kind of offer his parents proudly told relatives about. And yet, within a year, somehow, none of it felt like enough. He couldn't quite say why. It just never stopped feeling tight. So he upgraded. A new phone here, a nicer apartment there, more nights out with friends who were doing the same. Each one made sense on its own. Then came the car. Financed more than he should have taken on. But every time he pulled into a parking lot, something about it just felt like proof he'd made it. He wasn't bad at math. He could tell you exactly how compounding worked in theory. But in the moment, theory never stood a chance against something that felt good right now. Somewhere along the way, he stopped opening his banking app as often. Not a decision, really. Just a slow drift away from looking too closely. Nobody had ever really sat him down and walked him through any of it. Not at school, not at home. He was figuring it out the same way most people do, badly and alone. And from where he stood, none of this looked strange. Everyone he knew was living roughly the same way, spending roughly the same pace, so it never once occurred to him to question it. Arjun isn't careless, and he isn't unusually bad with money. He's just a fairly ordinary person, running the same handful of invisible patterns we all carry around, quietly in the background until someone points them out. None of this means Arjun or you are careless or unintelligent with money. These are just invisible defaults, quietly running in the background of most people's lives. The good news is, once you can actually see a pattern, you're no longer at its mercy. So let's talk about what actually helps. A few small tips to start with. Tip 1. Automate before you can decide. The single most effective fix isn't more willpower. It's automation. Move money to an investment plan the moment it arrives, before you ever have the chance to decide otherwise. Tip 2. Give it 24 hours before any non-essential buy. If you still want it a day later, it was probably a real decision, not an impulse. Tip 3. Check your balance once a week. Don't judge it, don't fix it, just look. That alone is what breaks the habit of avoiding it. None of these are complicated. That's the point. Small, boring habits are what actually add up. Out of these 7, which one do you think affects you the most? Comment the number below. I read everyone.